Hello guys, welcome to another video on SQL Server. This video is about CTE in SQL Server. CTE stands for Common Table Expressions. Common Table Expressions are part of ANSI SQL 99 standard, and these were introduced in SQL Server 2005 for the first time. This is a great feature to simplify complex SQL queries. Most often, developers end up writing complex SQL queries and statements, which contain nested queries or subqueries, and it becomes difficult to understand and maintain over time. Here is an example query. The main query contains a subquery and it is aliased as sales summary, which contains another subquery aliased as sales count. So it is kind of complex query. We can reduce this complexity if we can somehow write the subqueries outside the main query and then refer to these queries in the main query or outer query. For example, we can create views or temporary tables for the subqueries and then refer to these in the main query. But what if you don't have permissions to create temporary tables or views in the database? Moreover, temporary tables once created last for the whole session unless we drop them explicitly using drop table statement. And these can clutter the database easily, and these also consume database resources. In scenarios like this, common table expressions are very useful. They are like temporary tables but are not created as objects in the database. And you don't create and drop these explicitly. And there is no need for any special permissions. So, what is a CTE? It is a named simple query which returns a temporary result set, and it must be used in the SQL statement which follows it. The statements which can use a CTE can be a select, insert, update, delete, or merge statement. Scope of a CTE is just a single SQL statement and it expires immediately after it. So there is no need to drop them like temporary tables. Here, sales count inner query is written as a CTE and it is used in the main query like a table. And now the main query looks simple and better. In other words, we have moved a subquery outside the main query and declared it as a CTE. The CTE is declared using with keyword, then name of the CTE, then as keyword, then the query is written in parentheses. If you look at the main query, it still contains sales summary subquery. We can write it also as a CTE. Here, the sales summary is also written as second CTE, and the main query is more simplified and looks better. Please note the second CTE is written by just putting a comma after the first CTE declaration. So you only write the with keyword once and write more than one CTEs by separating them with commas. A CTE can also refer to another CTE, but the definition of the CTE being referred must appear before the definition of CTE referencing it. Forward referencing is not allowed. Here, sales summary CTE is using the sales count CTE, and definition of the sales count CTE appears before the sales summary CTE. You can also provide a comma separated list of column names for the CTE. The column names must be distinct. The number of columns must be equal to the number of columns returned by the query. Here in this example, 3 column names are specified because the result produced by the query contains 3 columns. Each column name maps to a column name returned by the query. This is one-to-one mapping. Column list is optional if the query returns distinct columns. If you see the example, here the last column in the query is an expression and no alias is provided for it. In this case, it is required to provide the list of columns in the CTE. So, the last column returned by the query will appear as sales year in the result set. So, the purpose of the column list is to rename or alias the columns returned by the query. It makes it possible to have different column names in the query than column names in the result set returned by the query. So, I can name the columns of the query in CTE without affecting the query which uses CTE. Here are some more points and limitations to remember. You can use order by clause only if the top clause is used in the query. Otherwise, order by clause cannot be used. Another limitation is that you cannot use into, option, and for browse clauses in the CTE queries. Use of union, union all, intersect, and except operators is allowed. So you can have more than one queries in a CTE and combine the results using these operators. A CTE referring to itself is called a recursive CTE, and it is referencing itself within a query inside it. Recursion is a way to process hierarchical or tree-like structures. In DBMS, recursive records are stored as self-referencing tables. Here is an example of self-referencing my employee table. It contains manager ID field as a foreign key, which refers to employee ID primary key. You can use recursive CTEs to process tables like these. A recursive CTE must contain at least two queries. Here in this example, the CTE contains two queries. The first query is used to select zero-level nodes. It is called anchor query, and it is not self-referencing the CTE. It executes only once. The second query refers to the CTE itself and is known as recursive member. It executes multiple times like a loop. And there is a union all operator between them to combine the results. You can limit the recursion by using max recursion option in the main query, which uses recursive CTE. Now here are some more points to remember regarding recursive common table expressions. You can have more than one anchor members and more than one recursive members. But anchor members are written at the top and separated by union all, union, intersect, or except operators. But there must be a union operator after the last anchor member. A recursive query cannot refer to the CTE more than once in the from clause. In a recursive query, you cannot use select distinct, group by, pivot, having, and top clauses. Similarly, scalar aggregates are not allowed. Subqueries are not allowed. You can only use the inner join. So left, right, or outer joins are not allowed. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel and click the bell button so you can get notifications of my videos. Also watch my other videos. The links are given in the description. Thanks.